Well, Thursday night, nieces and nephews are asleep. Decide I'm gonna stay up and watch a movie on Netflix before I go to bed. And I happen to decide to watch a certain film that I saw the trailer of today. Caught my interest. Definitely was not in the usual genre, usual stereotype of this genre. In fact, it turns it on its head, which is why it's so friggin' brilliant. In my opinion, anyway. And that it's called. Some of you might have heard of it. Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Um, Now it's a fairly, I don't want to say completely independent project, though I think it might actually be. It did have like a limited theatrical release, was actually available to get on demand before it even hit theaters. Um, but I got to tell you, it's better than the other movie in its genre that I've seen in a long time. It tends to be less so much horror as horror comedy, dark comedy, that kind of thing. But it actually makes you think, and that's rare in these kinds of movies. I mean, most of the time it's usually just, pretty straightforward. Oh my God, I can't believe you're such a monster. Blah blah blah. Why are you doing this? Because it's fun type crap. Which does work if you do it right, but when you just have some sort of generic villain that doesn't even really capture your interest, it's just stupid, you know. And so much of horror gets that way. Whether it's indie horror, as much as people like to be frickin' hipsters about movies lately, indie horror kind of sucks too anymore. It's just so much rehashing what's been done in Hollywood, only doing it with a lower budget, and therefore that somehow makes it better because they have an excuse or something. I don't know. But this movie, it's actually pretty interesting. It's a group of college kids go out into the woods to party, all that good stuff. And they wind up meeting a couple of hillbillies out there, and you think you know where it's going to go, but then right when you think you know where it's going to go, flips it, turns it on its head. These two hillbillies, I don't even know if you could call them really hillbillies per se. Well, they are. They're just not the horror film stereotype hillbillies. They're more the sitcom type hillbillies. They're the friendly guys. They're socially awkward and clumsy, but they're the nicest guys you could ever meet. And but because these kids, they come from the city, they think that these people are all stupid. They think that they're all freaks. They think that their entire opinion of these guys is based on these horror movies and scary stories they've heard around the campfire. And long story short, they wind up camping in the same area. The two hillbillies have their cabin. Tucker and Dale have their cabin. And they have their campsite, and they decide they're going to go skinny dipping. We're still following the usual thing here. One of the girls slips and hits her head on a rock and goes under. Tucker and Dale happen to be out in the boat fishing at the time. They saw her, and they go and they pull her in, and they take her back to their cabin to recover. And of course, they naturally think that they knocked her out, kidnapped her, and they are going to be torturing her and concoct a plan to get their friend back. And because they are so just hell bent on believing that these guys are evil, psychotic murderers, they are not bothering to ask any questions, not doing nothing, just going straight for the kill. And in the process, they're pretty much getting themselves killed. It's actually funny in a way. Um, it's something though that I'd really recommend seeing, because one of the things that it actually sits there and makes you think about is, who's the monster, the stereotype that's being pushed at you, or the kind of people who would buy into that so readily that they'd be willing to kill someone they don't even know over it. It's actually really ingenious. I'd really recommend you see it. For those who have Netflix, they have it on Netflix. You can watch it instantly. For those who don't, they actually have it here on YouTube. You can watch the full movie. You gotta pay $4 to do it though, but I think it's worth it to see it at least once. But excuse me. But yeah, if you can find it on demand somewhere, or Netflix it or whatever, I really recommend you see it at least once. It's a really good movie. It's a lot better than you'd think it'd be. There's actually a pretty decent fight in the end, all things considered. Um, there's a moral to it. It's good storytelling. It's good acting. The characters are actually likable. Um, It's all around awesome, I think. Definitely one of my favorite movies in this particular genre, and one that I actually wouldn't mind owning at some point. But anyways, until next time, guys, which probably going to be sometime in the middle of next week. Maybe sooner, if something comes up. But my planned videos aren't going to be till next week, anyways. But until the next time I see you, later.